For those of you that are here with me this morning, let's officially get this started. Today, it is all about why LifeWave Now. So LifeWave is actually, LifeWave is a brand. LifeWave is also a technology, and LifeWave is also a lifestyle. My name is Terese Santos, and I am your host for this morning's presentation. And as I had said a little earlier, I am bringing you 6 really incredible reasons to even be here today. I have selected each of these 6 women based on a couple factors, based on the fact of who they are, what they've accomplished in LifeWave, what they do in their life, either previous or currently, in addition to LifeWave. And as I had mentioned, even though LifeWave is a brand that spans every age, every demographic, these are 6 women in their 60s, defying age. And I think you're going to be able to connect, no matter who you are, with one of their stories, if not many of their stories. So who am I briefly? As I said, my name is Terese, and I'm actually the CEO and the founder of Beauty for the Soul Mentorship. I am also a presidential leader with LifeWave. I am also I'm a wife. I am the mother to 2 adult sons. I also have a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks that puts me closer to the women that are joining me today in their 60s. I also created something called the 5-Step Sacred Peace Plan. And it was really that peace plan and my own 10-year struggle with insomnia that led me to LifeWave. And LifeWave, again, is something that we're all here. We're here to talk about what light therapy and what LifeWave is all about. So if we could start with our first presentation slide. So LifeWave Light Therapy, we have a therapy that is found in, really contained in a wearable patch. So today, you're all gonna learn about the importance of this patented and clinically tested wearable and affordable technology that uses light and our own human energy to activate your own stem cells. That's the part I want you to catch. We're activating your own stem cells. This is also a therapy that supports holistic self-healing. And by the way, our Creator created us to be able to self-heal. That was the original plan. And so again, it helps to, this light therapy, it helps to manage stress. It will help improve the quality of your sleep. And many of you are interested in this, it supports youth renewal, athletic performance, and beauty. This technology is backed by science. That science, really an everyday term that most people are familiar with because it's been around for about 100 years, is phototherapy. But more scientifically, the science that we are using is called photobiomodulation. This technology is backed with multiple patents, and all this works with light and without any harmful drugs or chemicals or stimulants. Nothing enters the body. Next. So LifeWave patches work like acupuncture, and this is what I'm excited about, because this is the combination of bringing ancient medicine and combining it with modern day technology. How many of you are aware that the acupuncture system is actually 200 times, it works 200 times faster than our nervous system? Now think about that. Think about that. If you're looking for rapid pain relief or stress reduction, don't you want to use a healing method that actually works on the faster side? So the patches, again, work like acupuncture as they stimulate and they communicate with your body's own bioelectrical energy system via acupoints on the surface of the body. The patches are actually registered as a Class 1 medical device, and they're activated by our body's own human energy. It's the only form of phototherapy, by the way, the only form of phototherapy in the world today that's actually activated and powered by our human energy. And what is that human energy? It's our body's infrared energy, our body's infrared heat, and it reflects low frequencies of light that literally the body recognizes as an information signal. And because of this, the LifeWave patches are safe. Again, I'm going to emphasize this, especially in today's time where we have an epidemic crisis where, 80% of Americans, in fact, let me rephrase that, 80% of all prescription drug use in the world today are being used by Americans for things like rapid pain relief, for things like sleep disorders and depression, and other areas that people are turning to prescription drugs. So think about that. 80% of all prescription drug use, the opioids, are being used by Americans. This is important information. This is an important technology. This is an important time. In fact, the good news is plant medicine and energy medicine is on the rise, and that is the good news. Again, this is what the LifeWave light therapy technology is about. It is safe. It is drug-free. It won't interfere. For those of you that are taking necessary medications, it will not interfere with your medications or supplements that you might be taking. Why? Because nothing enters the bloodstream. These patches, they look like a little Band-Aid. They go specifically on acupoints on your skin. Each of the patches come with a little booklet that tells you where, the best acupoints to place them. And those are the acupoints that have been clinically tested. So let's continue. Kind of exciting. All right, and allow me to introduce to you the science and really the genius behind the LifeWave technology. You are looking at the scientist. This is Mr. David Schmidt. And what makes LifeWave so unique, what makes this brand, this lifestyle, this technology so unique is the CEO and the founder, David Schmidt, who happens to also be the inventor of this technology. It's cutting edge. It was cutting edge, over 20 years ago when David first brought this. In fact, the original concept of the LifeWave technology was originally designed for the military. David was a part of a military think tank, and they were looking for a way to keep the SEALs with really great energy and really great sleep without drugs. And things happened, and David had the opportunity to take his invention and make it more private. For me, I'm certainly glad that things worked out the way they were, and that this isn't just for the military. And so he was certainly ahead of his time. This is innovative. This is unique. Again, the science is valid. It's real. It's been documented. There's so many clinical tests. The science of photobiomodulation, also known as frequency medicine, low light therapy. We're also using another science in the LifeWave patches, and that's called the science of nanotechnology. Again, at this point, there are over 80 clinicals. The science is there, and for those of you that like to dig into the science and the clinicals, you can visit the bottom of the LifeWave website. You can, right in the footer, you'll see something that reads science and clinicals. And what's really exciting about this is that David himself has over 100 patents, and over 70 of those patents are in regenerative science alone. And so aging and age reversal is a high priority to David, and some incredible things are coming, some incredible things are here, but there's also incredible stem cell technology patches that are coming down the pipeline. Again, no drugs, no chemicals, no stimulants, and all the patches are actually made here in the USA. Next. And a little background about the company. I was a little shocked myself. I actually live in Orange County, California, and come this August, it will be my 3rd year with LifeWave. And I have to tell you, when I had a 4-hour lunch almost 3 years ago with David himself, and it was during that lunch that I learned about his vision, his heart, his humanitarian spirit. But I also leaned in and I said, David, how come I haven't heard from you? Because see, I'm also a former Mary Kay sales director. I had been with that company for 28 years. I had earned 18 pink cars with that company. And so I had left that company and resigned over 10 years ago. But I think I would have known about a company in my own backyard, especially direct sales. And when I asked them, how come I haven't heard of you? And at that point, you know, you're 15 years old. And he kind of smiled and he said, yeah, well, you know, it's because you're American and we're highly medicalized. And I went, yeah, where the average American takes actually over 6 different prescriptions every day. And see, he's trying to, you know, he's trying to create a different story around that. So stick around, stay with us today, and you're going to learn a little bit more about this. But right now, just so you know, this company is so integrative. It is San Diego based. You can see a picture of our corporate office. It's actually a debt-free company. We actually are legal and operational, and it's continuing to expand in over 100 global markets. And for those of you that are a little bit more business-minded, that's important because you don't have to have an office in another company to build out operations or to create business sales and revenue. And so David, again, is an extraordinary man and has a big vision and a big heart to serve. So that's a little bit of the background. And one other thing, David in 2019 released something to the world that you're going to learn about today, which is a big part of the LifeWave story. What other billion-dollar drug companies were not able to do, what they weren't able to do with all their resources, one man did. You're going to learn about an invention called X39, a technology called X39 that actually activates our own stem cells, and pretty exciting thing. So next. David actually has a lineup of different patches that have different wellness properties, and in addition to the stem cell activation patch, these are the most popular patches that make up our brand. So just know that, as I said in my introduction, it was my own, you know, it was my sacred peace plan that brought me, and my own struggle with insomnia that brought me to the LifeWave patches. And you're going to notice there's a couple patches here that support sleep and that support stress reduction. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but just take a quick peek here. There are patches for cellular energy. We're talking about activating your cells' powerhouses, the mitochondria. We're also talking, we have a patch here that is incredible for rapid pain relief, and it actually reduces pain literally by 50%, if not 100% at the speed of light. It's powerful. There is the Eon patch that reduces stress, anxiety, and inflammation, which is one of my go-to patches in my business. There is the mood enhancer patch called Nirvana. Think about that. What if you could actually increase all 6 of your happiness endorphins naturally in as little as 3 weeks? With no drugs. You're going to want to check out the Nirvana system. We also have a patch called Carnosine that within 30 days of wearing 1 patch a day, it improves all organ function and health up to 40%. Incredible. Glutathione. Now, I'm going to spend 30 seconds on glutathione because of current times. We do have something that is very real called COVID-19, the novel COVID virus. And one of the things, without making any medical claims, we do know that glutathione is our body's master antioxidant. And unlike a supplement or a glutathione drip, which has a very short lifespan in the body, the LifeWave glutathione patch within 24 hours of wearing a patch will stimulate, because glutathione is actually made in your liver. Wearing that glutathione patch on one of the recommended liver acupoints within 24 hours actually increases our own body's glutathione. Why does this matter? Well, because glutathione is absolutely vital when it comes for detoxification and immune support. So it increases your own immunity, your own body's protective system within 24 hours, and it increases it by 300%. And then for those of you that might be concerned about sleep and insomnia, boy, because you know what? Over 58% of people, adults, are struggling with sleep issues. And there is no beauty or healing without proper rest and without proper sleep. So David invented something called the Silent Night Patch, and this increases the quality of your sleep up to 66%. Doesn't make you sleepy, doesn't make you drowsy, just keeps you asleep longer and deeper. And then finally, there is a patch that I absolutely love to wear at night, along with the X39. And this one just helps with collagen boosting, telomere lengthening, and learn more about that another time. But next. And this really is the biggest story in stem cells today. You know, stem cells are not necessarily a new idea. There's a lot of questions around stem cells, but there's no doubt stem cells are the future of medicine. They're just not quite there yet in modern day science. So this is the big story of LifeWave, because stem cells aren't, again, the new idea, but a patch, a wearable technology that actually elevates a specific copper peptide in the body. And that copper peptide is also clinically tested to re-engage, to wake up, to activate your own dormant stem cells, your own stem cells. And you're not just waking them up, you're actually re-aging them and changing the gene expression. In fact, over 4,000 gene expressions get changed just by wearing one X39 patch, wear one a day. And there are so many clinicals around this where within 24 hours of wearing a X39 stem cell activation patch, it changes the blood work. How relevant is this? Well, we were just issued a US patent on the X39, and in record time, because David was able to provide the blood work and the clinicals. So there's a big story around, you know, the world's first and only. So we have no competition. No one else has this technology, and no one else will. We have this patent and it is protected for the next 20 years. So let's continue. And let's go back. And at this point, I am going to, if we could just, there we go. So I, at this point, am so thrilled to introduce to you our first guest. And so we're going to bring up someone that I've known for several years now. Her name is Paula Shaw. And we're just going to bring her up here. And I will be there she is, and let's make her live and make sure she's unmuted. Oh, there she is.
Good morning.
Good morning, Paula.
Good morning, Terese. Good morning, Kathy, behind the scenes.
Yes, behind the scenes. And so, Paula, I decided that you were our very first guest, and there's so many things I love and respect about you, but can we lead with the big obvious where everybody's been seeing you lately? You are the host of a radio show, and you've been taking that radio show live for the last several months. And I know the big question when people see you, either in person or or online, is they're shocked when they find out how many birthdays you've had. So normally, I know it may not be considered polite to talk about a woman's age, but when someone, and all of you, as you heard, with me today are incredible women in your 60s, and my friend, you actually, I have to say, you win. Because you've had the most birthdays so far. And
I have had a lot of birthdays. This year, I will be into a new decade, which is a little scary because 70 always sounded so old before. But now, thanks to X39, I actually brag about my age, and I'm very, very happy to share with people the reality that in September I will be 70 years old. Or I should say 70 years young, because I truly do feel that. Yeah. Because of X39, not only do I look younger because my collagen has certainly increased. You know, there was a day about 3 months into using X39 when I went to wash my face and I went, oh my goodness, I really noticed it for the first time. I could just feel so much more sponginess and collagen. So that was exciting. That was very exciting. But, you know, for me, these patches made so much sense. Terese, I remember just a little under 3 years ago when you introduced me to the LifeWave patch because I had pain in my lower back, and you told me that it would take the pain away perhaps at the speed of light. And I actually, just to indulge you, took the patches and went and put them on in the ladies' room. And about 10 minutes later, I was sitting listening to the presentation, and I went, oh my God, that pain is actually gone. Yes, yes. And so, you know, LifeWave's been part of my life ever since. But it wasn't hard for me to get this technology because, as you know, yes, I do a radio show called Change It Up. I'm a life transition therapist, so my work is all about change. And I'm also a founding member of the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology. And we've known for a long time that if you can shift a person's energy, you can shift the level of pain that they're experiencing, whether it's emotional or physical. You can change all kinds of things. You can heal trauma. You can work with PTSD. And so I had been doing that. I had been working with energy and light. Actually, one of our methods is tapping meridian points. So when you explained these patches to me, I got it right away. But there was nothing like experiencing that immediate pain relief that happened. And of course, I love using the Eon patch in my practice because it calms people down so beautifully. It's anti-stress, you know, and anti-inflammatory. And sometimes when they come in to see me and they're teary and overwhelmed, the first thing I'll do is ask them if I might put one of those patches on them. And I have no worries if they're on any kind of meds, because there are no drugs or chemicals in it. So it's beautiful. It's something that's very easy and comfortable for me to use, that they can feel the results of. By the time the session is over, they're going, whoa, I really feel better. And I know that it's something they can use safely. So it's LifeWave is such a big part of my life. You know, I like to share too that my parents are in their 90s. You know my parents, Terese. And my dad's 94, my mother's 90. My dad speaks everywhere because he's a veteran of the Normandy invasion. He is clear, he is sharp. So is my mother. You know, I really think their cognitive functioning has improved a lot since they've been using X39. And I feel really good that they're using these patches while we're all, you know, in the middle of a pandemic, because I feel like their immune systems are very strong and they're healthy, they're lucid. It's beautiful. So not only do I appreciate these patches in my own life and consider them a critical part of my life, I'm thrilled that they are enhancing the lives of my family as well.
Paula, thank you so much. And one last question. When it comes to the efficacy, because that's really what I was hearing you as you were just sharing, what would you have to say? Because you actually are also dear friends with David as well. Introductions were made, and you've got a beautiful relationship with. Well, how would you describe David? Because I think a lot of people today, they need to know the integrity, where, you know, really the founder of where if they're going to use a product or if they're going to be a part of a business.
Absolutely.
They want to feel good about their company. And so maybe speak to that, and then the efficacy of the patches.
Well, I like to tease David and say that I believe, and I do, he's the smartest man in the world. I mean, you can't bring up any topic that he doesn't know something about. He's just brilliant. And I just feel that he's been a channel to bring this technology straight from heaven, because it is miraculous technology. There's nothing like it. Excuse me. And it works. Yes. I mean, it just works. In fact, I had a precious experience last night. You know, one's own children are usually the last ones that buy into whatever it is you believe. But my son called last night and told me that he tweaked his back, and he said, I put an X39 on it. And I felt like my work here on earth is done. He's heard me. So it was very cool. And he was experiencing relief, which was exciting. And I mean, I have no qualms about recommending these patches to anybody, because I do know they work. I use them every day of my own life. And as I say, you know, my parents are precious to me, and they use them every day as well. So there's no situation I can think of where I would hesitate to recommend these patches. David is one of the most integrous, generous, kind, brilliant people on the planet. So we couldn't ask for more beautiful leadership.
Thank you, my dear, and we'll see you soon.
Okay.
All right. Kathy, I would love for you to bring to us Diane, our next speaker. Bye, Paula. We'll see you in a little bit.
Okay.
Gorgeous. So that is evidence that it doesn't matter how many birthdays, anybody can change their biological story, and we can rise above that, and we can actually change the way our body ages, and that in turn we make changes on the inside, and it starts to show up rather beautifully on the outside. So All right. Do we have Diane Molinaro with us? All right. Well, good morning, gorgeous. Let's lower your, there we are. There she is. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's okay. So, just keeping things moving. Good morning. And it is, oh, this is just going to get more and more fun here. So, Diane is a beauty industry professional, beauty and skincare industry, and she has been in the industry for a long time. Here is another gorgeous woman in her late 60s who is defying aging, and she's doing it in all the right holistic ways. So Diane, good morning.
Good morning, Terese. How are you?
Fantastic. So why don't you give us a brief introduction to who you are and how you're using the LifeWave patches?
Well, as Terese said, my name is Diane Molinaro, and I am the owner of Diane Molinaro Permanent Cosmetics Removal and Training Center here in Newport Beach, California. I have had that business for 17 and a half years, and I enjoy making people feel more beautiful about themselves every day through the art of permanent cosmetics. And I also help people remove bad permanent cosmetics or just some tattoo regrets that they might have with the wonderful A+ Ocean saline tattoo removal system. I also train that system as well as advanced permanent cosmetics.
So how are you using the LifeWave patches?
Oh, I implement them quite often as rapid wound healing. So in the case of permanent cosmetics, we want to end up with really good retention so that there's very little touch-up required at that second visit. And so a lot of times I will have people use them mostly for lip procedures because lips go through the most healing. Scar camouflaging, I will sometimes recommend that as well. And definitely for my removal clients because I want that skin to start to heal really fast so that the scabbing can come off well, and that the skin underneath it is then ready to go in and have the next procedure done to keep removing that pigment or ink out from the skin. And X39 works amazingly for that because of the rapid wound healing property that it gives the body.
Thank you so much. I know that you've shared some extraordinary stories that you've seen in your own practice. Diane, can I ask you to share, because we've known each other now for a little over a year. You started off as a client of mine in my mentorship, and you have an extraordinary yet rather personal healing story. May I ask you to would you be open to share that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Sharing the story is probably the reason it happened to me to begin with. I didn't know why it did, but once LifeWave came into my life, I went, okay, God, this was why. Approximately 14 years ago now, I had a 35% TCA peel under anesthesia that was supposed to just be the creme de la creme to brow lift that I'd had, and it went totally awry. My skin, my face, my forehead, certain areas just kept exploding. I was virtually a hamburger meat face for about 2 months. And I went into the deepest, darkest rabbit hole of depression to the point to where I was suicidal. And one day I was actually going to carry that out. And I heard the voice of God very loudly say to me, "Child, it would be okay." And at that point in time, I knew I was in serious trouble. And I called my general care physician, told him what was happening. And he got me into his office right away. He wrote me out 2 prescriptions, one for Lexapro and one for Xanax. The Xanax was to take over taking care of my anxiety and so forth until Lexapro had kicked in. And that was now about 14 years ago. And during that time, did I need some kind of intervention to save myself? Yes, I did. However, I shouldn't have been on it for 13 and a half years. I tried 2 different times with the wean off protocol that he had given me when I told him I wanted to try to wean off. And I tried twice and never could get past the middle of that 3rd week. It was just too much withdrawal symptoms. And I would go back to the bottle of Lexapro, and 2 nights of full dosage. I felt like, okay, I'm me again. I really wasn't. I was the Lexapro nervous system. But enter LifeWave about 15 months ago now. And after being on Eon and X39 for about 3 months, I decided once again, because I felt so fabulous and more wonderful than I'd ever have in my life, I thought, you know what? I don't need to be taking this drug every night anymore. So I'm going to try one more time with the help of this wonderful technology and God's help to once again try to wean off. Well, I not only got through that 3rd week of wean, but I got through that dark abyss week of the 4th week that I'd never been before, because I'd never gotten that far. And I got through it. I was able to breathe through those anxious moments and the little bit of withdrawal symptoms that from getting that drug out of my body. I was able to breathe through it and let it just sort of take over and let my body just work through that anxiety. And once I got through the wean off, I went through a couple weeks of my own nervous system now kicking back in and regenerating itself. And I would cry, I would get mad, but then I'd reset. And once I got through that point, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what it feels like to really be me. And at that point, I knew that I could not keep this to myself. I needed to share this with every single person I knew. I brought it into my business. I help people every single day with their stress, their sleep, their wound healing, once I've done a procedure on them. And I've helped many, many people start to change their money story. And I can't say enough fabulous, wonderful things about this technology and this company. And I thank God every day for David Schmidt and LifeWave and for leading me down the path he did, because my story is now really meaningful because it has a glorious, beautiful end to it. And I have LifeWave to thank for that. And I have you, Terese, to thank for introducing me to this wonderful company and technology to begin with. So that's my story.
Wow, and it is an incredible story that inspires, and I hope that everyone here who is just hearing your story, if not them, chances are they know someone that this can absolutely support. And so, absolutely. Diane, before we say goodbye to you for now, because we'll bring you up at the end, may I ask your age and how do you feel?
On July 3rd, 6 days from now, I will be 68 years young.
Yay! Bravo, bravo. So may that inspire everybody as well. So we'll see you soon, and thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And Kathy, if you could bring on our next, Simone. And Simone is, she is the founder of Accelerated Health. She is, she is absolutely passionate about supporting people with brain health and cognition health. She's a specialist in epigenetics. And so good morning, Simone. Let's unmute.
Good morning, Terese.
Good morning.
Glad to be here.
And another fantastic woman in her 60s. And I have to say that Simone, not are you only wonderful women in your 60s, you are an extraordinary leader in LifeWave, where you are bringing this more than anyone else really in my community, in my team, to the medical community. You know, I said earlier, I am not a doctor, but I have over 60 doctors in our team that are using the technology in their practices. And that has been a big focus for you, hasn't it?
Absolutely. You know, Terese, I am one of these women who loves science. You know, I did first year medicine, and thankfully for me, in Zimbabwe, where I did it, the first year to qualify to move on through medicine, you had to do an autopsy. And I failed miserably. And so that led me into another realm altogether. But I've always been very excited about health. And now I am the founder and CEO of a company called Accelerated Health, which is bringing to the world technology that is validated by science, but has its roots in ancient medicine. So, you know, when you talked about acupressure and acupuncture, that's right up my alley. But for so long and for so many people, that's really been, you know, left field or out of the box. Well, now David Schmidt has brought technology that is steeped in ancient wisdom, but validated by science. So I'm very, very excited about LifeWave.
Tell us a little bit about what epigenetics is, because that is also a science that is getting a little bit more necessary light.
Absolutely. You know, epigenetics means above the genes. And right now it's very pertinent because a lot of people for, say, the last 10 years have used a company called Ancestry.com because they wanted to find out their genetic heritage. And now it's gone further than that. People are wanting to know if there's a member of their family that has Alzheimer's and dementia, for instance, do they have the capacity or the propensity to have that as their future? And I'm here to share with everyone that your DNA is not your destiny. You know, it is our blueprint, but it is not the outcome that we necessarily want if we know that we have genetic dispensers that would lead us down the road to having Alzheimer's and dementia. So through food, nutrition, and through LifeWave, we can switch on certain genes and switch off certain genes. So I'm most grateful for that, David, because my mother died of cardiovascular disease. My father had diabetes, and my father-in-law was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia. And that was a big concern for his son, my husband, who thought, you know what, maybe he would have it. And so through technology and through LifeWave, we know we are safe.
Well, thank you so much for that. But you know, Simone, you had mentioned your father-in-law, and I'm very, very aware of the healing story. And again, we're going to use this, you know, again, without making any kind of medical claims, but that there really is healing possible in the area of Alzheimer's. Do you want to just briefly speak to what, you know, what was the life of your father-in-law just, you know, before you started this new healing protocol? How did you what was his life like, and what is he doing now with his life?
Absolutely. You know, he's a man who 2.5 years ago, not even 2.5 years ago, in November 2018, was a man that went to the gym 4 days a week, was the life and joy of a party, very exciting, exuberant man who literally overnight stopped speaking English, spoke Norwegian, was looking for his wife who'd passed away 2 years, and members of his family who'd passed away, and was essentially losing his mind overnight. And it led us to get him to the hospital where they did all manner of testing. And after 3 days, they decided that he needed to go to a psychiatric hospital because he had Alzheimer's and dementia. And I said, how is that possible? Well, through research and putting him in a rehab center where they took care of him so we could bring him home, I did extensive research and found out that, you know, your DNA is not your destiny. And that something that I really want to make as a big, powerful point in that is senior moments are not to be discarded or taken lightly, because a senior moment, that flippantness that we have, is actually a warning that we need to take care. Because Alzheimer's and dementia, the light is switched on or the flame is lit at least 25 years before you exhibit the symptoms. And so my father-in-law, literally, we thought it was overnight, but this had been festering for a long time, unbeknownst to us. And you know, you don't know what you don't know until you're faced with it. And so when we brought him home, we looked at his epigenetics. We had his nutrition-derived a supplement to enhance his health from that. And also, I was very interested in stem cells, but there's no way that you can have stem cells injected into the brain. And with Alzheimer's and dementia, they lose short-term memory. So I was looking for something. And that's when I met you. You introduced me to David. And I asked him, do you have a protocol for Alzheimer's and dementia? And he said no. However, come to my office and we'll talk about what we can put together to help with that. And so over the next 9 months, I had anecdotal evidence that we were restoring his cognition. And then just January this year, I no longer had to rely on my dad's story because there were clinical trials and a pilot that showed that we had conclusive evidence that we can restore cognition and reverse the debilitating effects of Alzheimer's. So the other piece of that is, you don't know what you don't know, as I said, until you're faced with it. A lot of women, my age, think that, it's losing your mind or having brain fog is just a natural path of aging. It's not. Women are at the epicenter of Alzheimer's epidemic, and we need to take care. And so that's my obligation to share with people the power of X39.
Well, Simone, thank you so much. And I really do. For one, I am so glad that our paths have crossed. You've helped a lot of people, and now you're helping a lot of medical providers help a lot more people. And really that's a powerful outreach. And I know you have a big passion to serve at this level. So thank you so much. We'll see you soon. All right. And Kathy, would you please bring up Kathy? There she is. Yeah. So Kathy Booker, of course, another fabulous woman in her 60s. And I have to tell you all, Kathy really just helps me run this team. We've got thousands of people in our incredible, expanding, growing global community. And Kathy, good morning. And why don't you just tell us briefly a little bit about your backstory? What did you used to do?
Well, as you know, I spent almost 20 years working for a Fortune 500 company, and about 10 years ago left that career with a great business background. I did the whole thing, got the MBA, the whole bit, looking for freedom, looking for time freedom, looking for financial freedom that I wasn't going to get in a 9-to-5 job. As it was a great job, but and a great career, but I really wanted to, I have that entrepreneurial spirit and just really wanted to build my own business. And so on the road to doing that, I actually started and stopped several different businesses, kind of looking for the right one that fit my background. And then I actually started using LifeWave just for the product as I was getting older and dealing with some pain. And then about 1.5 years ago, when David started talking about the stem cell patches, I realized that this was really what I was looking for in a business, that I didn't have to hire employees. I didn't have to deal with credit cards. I didn't have to deal with shipping and packaging. But it also was something that I could build it as high as I want, and it could also bring me money as I get older into retirement. So it was like more of an ongoing thing. So that's really what brought me to LifeWave, and as a customer wearing these, fun little patches, and what's kept me and really made me pivot what my path is. And so I actually stumbled upon the business that I was actually looking for.
Well, and I am certainly grateful that our paths have crossed as well. And I know, because we work so close together and we have a friendship, that one of the most beautiful healing stories around the LifeWave patches was with your own mom. Would you just share that?
Absolutely. So, one of the things I was looking for in a business was something that would make an impact, right? And making an impact on the people that you're close to and that you love is really the best thing of all. And so my mother is She's now 84 and in good health, but what, for someone that's 84, there's always things that happen. She had arthritis for years, over 20, 25 years that I could remember.
Yeah.
She had, and she suffered with fibromyalgia and, a few other things. Anyways,
I was feeling I look so.
Sorry, I'm getting some background noise.
Simone, beautiful lady.
I'm just muting her.
Mute?
There we go.
Here we go. No problem.
Okay. You know what? Oh, I think you got muted somehow and all that. Sorry about that. Okay, so anyways, when I before X39 came out, I had been using some of the LifeWave patches, and I knew that they would help my mom, and so they live in Oregon. My parents live in Oregon. It really took me going up there and visiting for a week because I knew she wouldn't just try them over the phone, and so I showed up there and I said, well, I'm here this week, just try these patches, because she didn't believe they would work. She, and it was fairly new, a new idea. And I said, well, just try them. You don't have to believe me. And so she said, of course she would. Mm-hmm. And by day 3, she said she wasn't going to stop wearing them, that they helped her arthritis. We were sitting there playing cards or something with my parents, and she had started looking at her hand, and she said, that when I'm usually sitting here, I have to rub this finger all the time because it hurts so much. And she stopped. She said, it doesn't hurt anymore. So then the next chapter of that story, about 6 months later, X39 came out, and I went up to visit them at Christmas time, and I said, there's something else you've got to try. And so she, at that point, was obviously more open to trying them.
Yes.
And so she started wearing the X39, trying it. And within a couple weeks, the fibromyalgia pain that she just had felt every day it's still there. It doesn't cure fibromyalgia, but the pain has gone. And now,
it manages the symptoms, right?
The symptoms. Yes. And so now she'll tell me, she says, if I miss a day once in a while, I forget to put the patch on and I'm fine. But that second day, if I've not worn a patch for the second day, that pain starts coming back. And so she's one of my best customers.
That is what I call, there's business benefits, no doubt, right? There's a beautiful business behind this brand and this powerful technology, but then there's something called paychecks of the heart. So,
right.
Kathy, I know you've got healing stories with your own dog, Rocky, but in the interest of time, we'll share this. Let's go on, and could you please bring Pam Busiek on?
Absolutely.
Thank you, by the way. Thank you for everything. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be chatting with the last 2 women here, and that I have hand-selected to be a part of this presentation. Pam is a very accomplished businesswoman. She's a former owner of a direct sales company herself. And there you are. Good morning and I know you're chiming in from Dallas. So good morning, Pam. You're muted. Pam, you're muted.
Am I on now?
You're on. There you
thank
are.
You.
Pretty.
A few more buttons than normal, but anyway, the new norm for all of us. I first want to say thank you. It's just refreshing to be around vibrant hearts and like in similar ages. And Terese, you've done a fabulous job putting a wonderful team together, and the mixture of stories and how people are building their life and health stories. So I want to thank you personally.
Oh, my pleasure. And you and I became fast friends when we met at the beginning of just this year. We came together in Vegas, and you are an extraordinary, accomplished woman. I Googled you before I even met you. And wow. And you are an owner, a previous owner of a direct sales company. And So officially, tell us a little bit more about who you are, Pam, and why did you say yes to LifeWave?
Oh, I'd be thrilled too. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. I went to college here in Dallas at SMU and had a nice career with Neiman Marcus at an executive level there, and some global attachment to that as well. And had my first child, my daughter, Jamie, who is a patch lover and et cetera, like I think all of our committed families are at this point once you're involved. And from that, I opened up my own skincare company, global, on the cruise ships as well, and bought the manufacturer of that company, and then a vitamin company, and manufactured 2 very key vitamins that are in the marketplace currently today, and private labeled from a variety of different companies. And that led me to, a trade association that I was the CEO of globally, representing well over 1,000 companies in the area of personal care. But I think my real passion, as you mentioned, for the entrepreneurial spirit that Kathy touched on, was providing an opportunity for people to create their own value. And I did that with the skincare vitamin company and a direct sales method that allowed them to market globally on cruise ships, et cetera, and take it to whatever level that they chose to, domestically or internationally. And I didn't start out with that business model, but I finished with that business model because it gave people the largest amount of room to define what they really wanted in the marketplace as a business. I was not pursuing a business, as you know, Terese. I'm spending the bulk of my time with my mother, soon to be 85, my dad, 89, my husband, who in a moment I would like Kathy to share that slide, but in a faith-based study of my mother's, one of your guests, Diane Molinaro, and I were texting back and forth about a concern of her pet missing and the stress level. And she said, "These patches are doing so much for me." I said, "What patches?" And from that, I was thinking my father, who had been in the professional athletic world, all of his adult life and childhood, it would help him and his joints. So that LifeWave patch for injury was something I wanted for him. And the byproduct of that is how we met. The weekend that I was going to see him was the science conference in Las Vegas, where I had the ability to hear about the third-party clinical studies. I'm kind of a prove it to me gal, a pretty tough sell, frankly. Love business, the numbers, and science, and I just have to know all about that at a deep level. I read every clinical study that was available online and was grateful for the transparency of the company, which is unusual to expose that much to people without really disclosing what the full patented secret technologies are, but enough to know it was the real deal and that people were very proud and there was something huge happening. So in Las Vegas, on the way to see my father, I stopped and heard a full day of lecture, met most of you that are on today, and felt like I had a new family and something that I could really feel good about introducing my father to, introduce my own self to it. I was looking at a knee replacement, having been an athlete my whole life, and I'm very excited to tell you that no knee replacement. I'm now climbing steps that I couldn't do, and this was from the middle of January to where we are today here at the end of June. So it's with a lot of gratitude that I say all that and just encourage everyone.
Well, that gratitude works both ways. I have so much respect for who you are as a human being, Pam. You are brilliant. You are also a beautiful woman, also in her 60s, and making it possible to, it takes women like you. It takes women and men that are willing to see a bigger picture. And so I appreciate you so much for that. And speaking of picture, would you like to share a picture that is very near and dear to you and maybe just speak to it?
Oh, I would. Thank you very much. Kathy, if you would bring this picture up, and if I'm still on, I can explain it to you. I want you all to meet my husband. His name is George Southgate Busiek. After a stroke, he had a stumbling fall in our home and split his head open on our granite kitchen countertop. Mm-hmm. And he thinks of himself as John Wayne. So the fact that he wasn't terribly concerned, I was. There were 3 full beach towels full of blood prior to getting to the emergency room. This was 7.5 weeks ago, by the way, guests and colleagues. And so day one, coming back from the emergency room with that right corner of his forehead totally split open. Yes, you could see the inside. It was very dramatic. So all I could think of is what it's done for myself, what it did for my mother, my daughter's energy level, my father, etc. Let's just put patches all over George, the healing and the stress and the pain. So there's day one for your viewing. And there's 2 weeks later, 14 days after the 15 stitches. And there is 7 weeks later. Had it not happened in my own home, had I not had my own knee virtually rebuilt on its own with the gifts that God has given our own body, I probably would not be sitting here. I was not looking for anything. But when you have a testimony that strong and you have it around people that you see day to day, and you've looked deep inside a company, and the word integrity has come up in a rebounding way, transparency, company stability, it's just a passionate thing to share with others because it's win-win. You're helping others succeed in their own health and wellness, let alone if you choose to address it as a business, the value is everything that you want to create it to be. And I'm probably overly passionate about it. If you're walking by me, I'm going to talk to you about what patches can do and probably give you 1, 2, or 3, hear your story. And if you're looking for any revenue or income, it's there. And I would say really, Terese, and just the end of my time, I know there's so much more to say, is that it's just the real deal. And it's exactly what it appears to be. And so thank you for having me, and colleagues, great to be with you.
Oh, Pam, so well said. And I am excited about what is possible. We haven't even broken ground yet, have we?
No, we've had our hands. I've had my hands full.
We'll see you soon, and thank you so much for all your contributions and your passion. And Kathy, if you could bring up our closing guest, certainly not last, when we talk about last but not least, because she is a big deal in her own right. There she is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sandra Biskind. Sandra is one of the world's best renowned transformational leaders in the world when it comes to light and energy work. Good morning. Unmute.
Unmute, yes.
There you are. There you are.
Thank you.
So, Sandra, another gorgeous woman in her late 60s. And what do you think about all this LifeWave technology talk?
Not only do I love you and LifeWave, but I am so in love with all of these women that you have put together this morning. Just hearing each story, I've been taking notes of the women's stories. And Pam, I actually took a photo of your husband, and I hope you don't mind, but I really want to use this to show people because, you know, you've even got the patches stuck all over his face. And I'm like, oh yes, you know, there's so much about LifeWave that I love. I love that it's the medicine of the future and we get to play with it now. I love that it's drug-free. I saw an ad for a drug on television last night, and it said, yes, this will make you so much happier and, you know, so much better. And the only side effect is rapid heart rate, which leads to death. And I just burst out laughing, and I thought, okay, what would you rather do? Would you rather put on one of these miraculous patches and know that it is not harming you on any, this is really do no harm, and yet it's activating the body's own ability to heal. And you know that I've taken on your catchphrase of healing by the speed of light. And I say this to everyone, this is like healing the body, mind, and soul by the speed of light. And it's just been extraordinary for me. I must say, I know why I'm here, because when you said stem cell to me 12 months ago, and I already knew that a lot of my friends were spending thousands and thousands of dollars having stem cell injections, and they absolutely knew that this was it, that this is what they needed to stay youthful and strong and healthy. And then you said, yeah, $97 a month and a patch, you know, and 30 patches. And I'm going, oh, this this is ridiculous. I have just got to know what's going on. So obviously, it took me 3 months, by the way. My work is about healing by the speed of thought. So I work in the unconscious mind. So I'm actually, as a mentor coach, I go very much deeper than most people go, in that I'm only interested in what the hidden causes of the events and emotions and decisions are, like what is impacting the DNA and gene expression. And so to actually come across this, that is it's almost, I call it the physical support to my energetic work. And that's why I love it so much. Terese, I've even patched up people over a Zoom call. Now I know that you're going to think, hang on, this crazy woman. However, I have actually used the Eon patch, which is instant de-stress, right, really instant. And I've used that to patch people up over a Zoom call. And because we know that energy, there's no boundaries for energy. In fact, I remember hearing Dr. Schmidt say, David Schmidt say, do not put these patches in your pocket, in the actual packet, in the sleeve when you get them, because they're activated by your heat and light. So that was just like, oh, the light went on. This is such an extraordinary technology. And I was telling someone about LifeWave yesterday, and I was just saying, it's not only that the patch technology works and it has miraculous results, it's that the integrity of the man behind the technology and the company and everything about this is intact. The integrity is just down the line. And it's not that often you get to be a part of a company where you can trust every single level through that company, from the top down to all of us. And I think that's the thing. You can't go wrong. You can't make a mistake when you use these patches. You just can't, because they're going to do the work for you, and the results speak for you. So I just want to thank the day that you finally didn't give up on me, because I must tell everyone, Terese was telling me about these patches for 2 years before I said yes, right? And I was like, no, I don't want to wear a patch. What do I want to do that for? And I was very stubborn and ignorant, quite frankly. But the minute you said stem cell, the minute X39 came out, it was like, oh no, hang on a minute. This is, because I knew about stem cells, then I was in. And now, of course, when you open my bathroom drawer, it is just full of all of these beautiful coloured patch packets, and I can hardly wait. I have a regime of the ones that I wear during the day and then the ones I wear at night, so I split them up. But my body is never without patches. And I must say, I'm going to be 66 in August, and I work very hard and I work very long hours. And because I'm doing energetic work, it takes a lot out of my brain particularly, and these patches have just been a godsend. I also, am I allowed to tell a story about the abject pain that I was in?
Oh, well, I was hoping you were going to tell that, but may I comment on something that you were just sharing here, and that because of who you are and the kind of work you're doing in the world, and we've all been talking about the thing that each of us women have recognized, and that is the integrity and the efficacy. And I would say, Sandra, it's especially you, because of the kind of work you do, that you practice and teach and trust intuition more than the average. And so for you to lean into this and to be such a loyal user, to the point where now you're actually sharing this with people in your community. And just speak to that for a moment, because that was so foreign to you, wasn't it? To actually say yes to a business side of this.
I didn't want to start another business. And quite frankly, when I started using them, I thought, well, just my husband and I will use them and that's it. But then people would say to me, how come your skin looks so good? You're growing all of this new hair, your nails. I'm like, what is going on? And I would say, I've got a secret. and it's X39, it's LifeWave. And people would just say, I want it. I just want it. So I started building a business by default. And now, of course, I just love it. And like Pam said, I just tell everyone about it, as she does. And so in my live events, I patch everybody up in my live events, because what happens is that I actually go through a system that Danielle and I have created that's unique to us. And during that system, we're correcting out the emotional charge behind past events, emotions, and decisions that are really in the unconscious, and we don't even know they're there. So I'm able to identify them, neutralize them, and people are just like, wow, I'm free. Like, what is this? And it's like magic, you know, and of course it's not, it's science, but it's like magic. And then I say, now, would you like for me to correct you using something else? And I bring out Eon, and I patch everyone up with Eon. And first of all, I get everyone to think about something that is upsetting them. They don't have to know why, because it won't be the reason. The conscious mind will give you a reason, but the unconscious mind has got the real reason. So I ask them to think about something that is upsetting them, patch them up, get them to take a sip of water, and then I test them again, and they just look at me and go, oh, I can't feel a thing. I need to take you and these patches home with me. And I just laugh. I say, well, you can't take me, but you can have the patches. So yeah, the patches of my whole community just love them, even if they don't understand the science behind them. And I think this is really important for us. If you think that 20 years ago, if somebody had have said to you, oh, in the future, you will be using this tiny little patch and it will be doing this, this, and this, and you go, oh, don't be ridiculous. And now the future is here, and we are using it, and it is miraculous in its efficacy, in its integrity, in everything about it. So I'm thrilled to be alive now. I really do wish David Schmidt had found this out 40 years ago, because I know I would be looking, feeling, and having even more energy than I do now. But, you know, I just know that moving forward in life, I don't have to think about Alzheimer's. I don't have to think about heart disease. And I'm not saying that things won't happen, but when they do, having this patch system and having this support, I know I will move through it in a way that would not have been possible before now. So very, very excited about it. You know, I think it was the big, was it last year? I had 5 weeks of pain. I was truly screaming and crying, tears pouring down my face.
Tell us about that situation, yeah.
Yeah, for 5 weeks. And I finally, Daniel got me to go and have an MRI, and I had 3 fully degenerated discs in my lower back, and arthritis on a nerve. So the pain was horrendous. And I said to them, well, you know, just inject stem cells in there. They said, no, it's not repairable. And there was just, the only answer was going to be surgery. And Terese called me and said, David is doing a very rare thing. He's doing a pain management afternoon down in San Diego. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to drive in a car for 3 hours to San Diego. And Daniel just put me in the car and said, we're going. And the minute we walked through the door, Terese just went like this. So I went down the front of the room, and she put 2 energy patches on the bottom of my feet, and she put 2 energy patches on my wrists, and I was already wearing Eon and X39. So here was this magic combination. And I sat down and I was listening and watching and loving it. And within half an hour to an hour, I looked at Daniel and I said, oh, I'm not in pain. And from that moment forward, I haven't had back pain. Well, I've had some niggles, but that would be after a couple of days of maybe not wearing energy, of being naughty, right? So right now, when I know that I've got this protocol happening, not only is my body no longer in the agonizing pain that I was in, but I actually spoke to David and I said, this is what's happening to my back, and I'm pain-free now. And he just smiled at me and he said, yeah, don't worry about your back. That will regenerate also. So I have complete confidence that, you know, down the track, I will have an MRI again, and those discs will be fully regenerated. It's not even in my thought process that they wouldn't be. So, you know, for me, it's the miracle of pain relief. It's the look and feel of my skin, of my energy. It's me being able to work 3 days in a row with, you know, people from all around the world and still have energy on the 4th day to have a life. So, I mean, most people are retiring at our ages for all these gorgeous women that we've got going. And you know what I can see? I can see for all of us, thanks to you, Terese, because you've been the catalyst. But I can see for all of us, we have more passion for life. We have more there's an innovation, there's a passion, okay, no matter what else we're doing, and we're all doing incredible things, we still have something in common, that we're doing everything we've ever done, and we've added this other dimension to our lives. And in doing so, we are being a powerful agent for good on the planet by doing so. So I am absolutely humbled and grateful and in appreciation for you, Terese, for never giving up on me. And actually, when I think about it, the people who have said no to me, I need to go back to all of them right now. And to all of these beautiful women that I've been listening to this morning, just, so grateful for your existence in my life and in this company, because this is the type of person that LifeWave attracts. And well, that tells you something about the product and the company straight away.
Oh, so powerful. Thank you so much. I am a forever fan of Sandra Biskind and her work and her beloved Daniel. And I hope you all caught that early when Sandra was speaking, she was talking about she's got a medicine cabinet filled with patches and not prescription bottles. And, here she can feel so confident. And she was talking about a television commercial that we all see, especially here in the States. It seems like every fifth commercial is for some kind of pharmaceutical. And, where there's a possible side effect of death. How not okay is that? How not okay is that? So we decided to just kind of bring you this open conversation of sharing so you could see real people. Today I selected, 6 amazing women, but know that we have incredible men in LifeWave as well. And Kathy, could you just bring everybody else on camera real quickly as we go ahead and just have a couple quick final thoughts, and then I'm going to answer. There's been questions coming through the whole time. And how can people get started with LifeWave? So I will speak to that, but I want to just do a finale. Oh, look at this gorgeous
I think everybody just needs to start their own video.
All right, so let's make sure everybody comes back on the screen. Oh, there we have it. Yes. Oh, there they are. Hello again. Oh, wonderful. Waiting just for Diane. There she is. There she is. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this I bring you. This came from my heart. This was an inspired idea. I knew who these women were, and I wanted you to all get a better understanding of who they are, their backstory, and how fortunate I am to get to call each of them friends and colleagues. And the work we are doing in the world, the work that our collective teams are doing, it is powerful. And now it's the time where we're all going to go ahead and just invite you, whether you are catching this today live or on a replay that one of us share with you. So starting right from Sandra, I'm going to just go real quickly. We're going to do a kind of like a little popcorn style. Why LifeWave Now? What would you say to our audience today and our audience on their replay? Because this will take on a life of its own. Why LifeWave Now? Sandra.
Because it's so important to take total personal radical responsibility for your own health and well-being. So LifeWave is one thing, probably the most important thing that you can do in order to take responsibility for how you show up, your level of energy, your health, your well-being, and the way you look.
Fantastic. And Paula, hello again. Why LifeWave Now?
Well, I think none of us really wants to live long if we don't live well, if we're not healthy, if we don't feel good about ourselves. And LifeWave for me is a surefire way of making that happen.
Thank you. And Simone, unmute yourself, and why LifeWave Now?
because it's time for us as women and men that we now wear the oxygen ourselves first. Because so many of us have been taking care of so many other people and having our businesses on board that have been operating without oxygen. Now it's our turn to wear the oxygen so we can affect change.
Fantastic, agreed. And Pam, why LifeWave Now? What do you have to say to that?
Oh gosh. Okay, quickly, what I would say is, a business person, we're always looking for a competitive edge. Well, there is no competition. In our own health and wellness, we're always looking for the best product, the best recommendation, etc. And when you stumble across that, and as a business and as a consumer with LifeWave, you do have the competitive edge.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Kathy, why LifeWave Now?
You know, for me, this is a crazy year, 2020, and in a lot of ways, a lot of us feel very helpless, you know, with what's going on. And this is something that, as one person, I can really make an impact. I can make a change in the world, a positive change in the world at a time when everything else seems to be just crazy around me.
That's a really powerful point, and thank you for that. And I hope that heightens all of us, you know, not just this, you know, my panel here, but everybody, is that we can, in our own way, with these patches, with this technology, with our heart, make such a ripple effect that really ends up taking on a life of its own. So thank you for that. And Diane, why LifeWave Now?
LifeWave Now, because there are a lot of problems out there and everybody talks about their problems, but LifeWave has solutions to the problems, the stress, the lack of sleep, and also a really huge money change availability with the company. So just come on board and use the patches and do whatever you feel you want to do as far as business is concerned, but LifeWave Now, because it's here and it's for all of us.
Thank you so much. And it's also for the future. It's here now, but it is the smartest. And when we all agree, you know, the stem cell industry is the next $1 trillion industry. And on the business side of this, to position yourself in front of it is actually quite smart. So it's here now, and it's also building a powerful thing for the future. Ladies, so grateful, and I will talk with you soon. And I'm just going to share with my audience, answer those questions, how they can go ahead and get established. So Kathy, if you could bring up my second last slide. Beautiful. Beautiful. There we go. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, again, we spent some time together. I wasn't going to worry about our timeline. I knew that this was an important conversation today, and so I want to thank everyone for really, almost all of you have stayed with us so far, and again, so much gratitude, and I hope that you found that this cup of coffee or this cup of tea conversation was certainly worth your time. And we've been getting a lot of little messages here in the chat and also in text messages where people are asking about how to get started. So whether you are looking to be a consumer and just you start using these patches yourself, we want that. Or if you are also looking for the business side to all this, and either or is an option. So here we go. So we are now at a point where I get to just share with you that, you know, for over 35 years, I've actually been building a business and creating a powerful lifestyle from home. I did say earlier that I know that the stem cell industry is the next $1 trillion industry. You've heard the women share today about their passion and the importance of efficacy and integrity, the fact that there is no competition, the fact that we have all the patents and that those patents are protected. I also believe that passive income is the highest quality income there is, and it is just, it's not every day that you have the opportunity to position yourself in front of the future of medicine. And so this is my invitation, that we have systems in place. We've got the technology, we've got the patents, we've got the tools, we've got a state-of-the-art website. And so what it takes to get started is, obviously, you've got to see this. If you see the brilliance of the tech and you just want to start using the products, fantastic. If you also are business minded and you see that, oh gosh, there are ways, there are niche markets, there are people that I know I can bring this to, then the invitation is there. Ladies and gentlemen, it was my pleasure to host this special Saturday morning. I hope that you enjoy the replay. I hope if you enjoyed your time together as much as I enjoyed. Thank you, ladies. I love each and every one of you. Bye.